Rahim. Today we will discuss the global food issue or the world food needs as an introductory class. Basically, there are only few regions in the world which have favorable climatic conditions, fertile soil, fertilizers, plenty of water, and the application of science and technology for the production of more food. Those regions are producing more food than their requirements and are exporting them to the neighboring countries or the countries where it is needed in the world. Remember that the countries of the world are mostly producing less more than their consumption because of the stated conditions. For this purpose, a report was submitted in which it stated that a massive, long range, and long term policy should be adopted to overcome the shortage of food supply. For this purpose, the Green Revolution in 1960s was started and initiated, who introduced the high yielding varieties of wheat and rice in some regions of the world to produce more wheat and rice to combat with hunger. They produced and were successful. More than it is the adaptation of the policy, that to adopt the policy of high yielding varieties to cultivate more land and to adopt the science and technology for more yield, but this will bring two problems. One will be the economic and the second one will be the social. The economic problem is basically the problem faced by the member countries or the countries who want to adopt it are mostly poor. And the social problem is that the small farmers and peasants will be displaced by the large land owners to adopt the scientific policy for the growth of the production, for the growth of the higher returns of the crops, whether it may be fruits, vegetables, or any other agronomic crops. Farmers will be displaced and land, etc. If we say the resources which we discussed, the land, the fertilizer, the water, the energy, and science and technology are limited resources for the production of the food, and on the other hand it is going to cause pollution because it is polluting the environment, as we have faced such problems in the near past. Government, industries, and the enlightened citizens have become aware about the problem of the shortage of the food, and they are planning to convince the people to produce more food, to produce high yielding varieties, to cultivate and to adopt the scientific and technological farming techniques. Moreover, they are trying to convince the people about their population rise and the production of the crops. But the governments are still at their initial stage by adopting such a policy, and the industrial sector is also trying to preserve the food to be utilized in the off season and in the far off places and to overcome the issue of the hunger. The increase in the population and the production is not in balance with each other. It needs to be balanced. But the countries where they can balance it, where they need to balance it, are still backward, and they have some problems such as fear of change, the customs, the traditions, the cultures, and they cannot violate. And illiteracy is still prevailing there. For such problems, a report about the food shortage was presented and submitted by the Food and Agriculture Organization, in which it is stated that most of the African countries were asking for the emergency supply of the food. Remember that the emergency supply is needed only in few conditions, in which either there will be earthquake, the flood, the disasters, the wars, or any such a condition which is not favorable for their growth. But when the member countries or the countries who were needy were helped by the Food and Agriculture Organization, by their other agencies, and by the Food and Agriculture Organization, in the next year they again demanded on the same emergency basis instead of growing their food or increasing their yield. This was reported by the Food and Agriculture Organization, and in the next lecture it will be discussed that how the data was gathered by the Food and Agriculture Organization about the problem of the world food hunger, and the parameters of the global food issue or the world food needs will also be discussed one by one to enlighten this issue and to bring awareness among the enlightened community to solve this problem. I hope you will appreciate this lecture, and if you have any suggestion, please, we will appreciate. Thank you.